me start by saying this. Predicting the price of Bitcoin isn't like predicting the weather. With the weather, at least you've got satellites, models, and decades of data. With Bitcoin, you've got history, cycles, emotions, and a market that sometimes behaves more like a roller coaster than a financial asset. But here's the thing. Even with all that chaos, Bitcoin has a pattern, a rhythm, a heartbeat. And if you know how to listen to it, you can make a pretty good guess about where it's heading. In today's video, I'm going to give you my exact price target for Bitcoin in 2025. Yes, an actual number, not vague. It could go up, it could go down, nonsense. A real prediction based on hard data, history, and a strategy I've built from years of watching this market chew people up and spit them out. But before I reveal my target, I want to take you on a journey through the past, through the present, and then into the future. Because only by understanding how Bitcoin has behaved before can we understand where it might go next. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's break this down. Bitcoin's past, the blueprint for the future. First, let's look back. Bitcoin was created in 2009, and for the first couple of years, it was more of an experiment than an asset. People laughed at it. The famous 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas story? That's from 2010. Back then, nobody thought Bitcoin would ever be worth thousands, let alone tens of thousands. But then the first cycle happened. Bitcoin went from pennies to over $30 in 2011. That might not sound like much now, but it was life-changing back then. Of course, it didn't last, it crashed back to $2. Still, the pattern had begun. Then came the 2013 cycle. Bitcoin went from around $100 to over $1,100, and then crashed back to $200. Painful, but again, the rhythm was there. A massive bull run, followed by a brutal crash, then a slow recovery. 2017, that's the one most people remember. Bitcoin soared from under $1,000 to nearly $20,000 in a single year. Media frenzy, family dinners where your uncle suddenly wanted to talk about blockchain, and then predictably the crash came. By late 2018, Bitcoin was back under $4,000. Then, of course, the most recent cycle, 2021. Bitcoin hit an all-time high of around $69,000. Everyone was screaming 100K is next. And then, the crash. We went back under $20,000. Brutal, but again the same rhythm. Here's what I want you to notice. Every cycle, Bitcoin has gone higher than the one before. And every crash has been devastating, but temporary. The lows are always higher than the previous lows. The highs are always new records. That's the heartbeat I'm talking about. The halving, Bitcoin's secret clock. So why does this happen? Why does Bitcoin follow this rhythm? The answer lies in something called the halving. Every 4 years, the reward that miners get for producing a new block gets cut in half. This means fewer new Bitcoins are entering circulation. It's like turning off half the taps in a water supply suddenly, the flow slows down. Simple supply and demand. When supply decreases and demand stays the same, or grows, prices go up. Historically, the biggest bull runs have always happened in the year or two after a halving. 2012 halving, 2013 bull run, 2016 halving, 2017 bull run, 2020 halving, 2021 bull run. And guess what? The next halving is set for April 2024, which means by 2025, historically speaking, we should be right in the middle of the next bull run. That's why this video matters, because the clock is ticking and the setup is already in motion. The big picture, macro environment. But it's not just the halving. The world around Bitcoin is changing too. Think about inflation. Think about governments printing trillions during the pandemic. Think about how traditional banks are struggling and trust in fiat money is lower than ever. People are looking for alternatives, and Bitcoin is the most proven alternative out there. Then there's institutional adoption. Back in 2017, Bitcoin was seen as a Wild West gamble. Today, we've got BlackRock, Fidelity, and some of the biggest financial players on earth preparing Bitcoin ETFs. Countries like El Salvador are adopting it as legal tender. Hedge funds are building strategies around it. That kind of demand wasn't there in the early days. but it's here now and it's only growing. The numbers don't lie. Okay, let's talk numbers. Historically, every bull run has pushed Bitcoin to a new multiple above its previous all-time high. From $1,100 in 2013, $20,000 in 2017. That's about 18x. From $20,000 in 2017, $69,000 in 2021. That's about 3.5x. Notice the multipliers are getting smaller each cycle. The early days had insane returns, but as Bitcoin grows, it takes more money to move it. That's why the gains shrink, but they're still massive compared to traditional assets. If the pattern continues, we can expect Bitcoin's next peak to be somewhere between 3x and 5x, the last all-time high. And since the last high was around $69,000, that puts us in a range of about $200,000 to $350,000, my exact target for 2025. Now, I promised you an exact number, and after studying the history, the halving cycles, and the macro environment, here's my prediction. By the end of 2025, I believe Bitcoin will reach $250,000. Why 250K? Because it fits the historical multiplier pattern. It's about 3.5 times from the previous high. It's high enough to reflect the increasing institutional demand, but not so high that it breaks the rhythm of Bitcoin's growth. $250,000 isn't just a random guess. It's based on math, psychology, and history. And while nobody can predict the future with 100% accuracy, I believe this is the most realistic target. What happens after 2025? Now, before you run off and mortgage your house to buy Bitcoin, remember this. Every cycle has two sides, the pump and the dump. If history repeats, Bitcoin could hit $250,000 in 2025 and then crash back down, maybe to $100,000 or even lower. That's the brutal reality of these cycles. The winners are the ones who ride the wave up and take profits before it crashes back down. The losers are the ones who hold blindly, thinking it'll just keep going up forever. So if my prediction plays out, the real challenge won't just be buying Bitcoin, it'll be knowing when to take profits. The psychology of the market. And this is where most people fail. The human brain isn't built for crypto. When prices are skyrocketing, greed takes over. You tell yourself, it's going to 1 million. I'll just wait a little longer. And then the crash comes. When prices are crashing, fear takes over. You panic sell, lock in your losses, and swear off crypto forever, right before the next bull run starts. If you want to survive 2025, you have to fight those emotions. You have to have a plan. Decide now, before the bull run, at what levels you'll take profits. Stick to it. Don't let greed or fear control you. How I'm positioning myself. So what am I doing personally? I'm stacking Bitcoin now before the halving. I'm dollar cost averaging every month, adding a little no matter the price. My plan is simple. Hold until Bitcoin reaches 6 figures, then start taking profits in stages. Maybe 10% at $150,000, another 20% at $200,000, and then bigger chunks as we approach that $250,000 target. That way, no matter what happens, I'll lock in life-changing gains without getting caught holding the bag. The risk factors. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. There are risks. Governments could crack down harder on crypto. A massive hack or scandal could shake confidence. Global markets could crash, pulling Bitcoin down with them. But here's why I still believe in $250,000. Every single cycle, people have found reasons to doubt Bitcoin. And every single cycle, it's come back stronger. In 2013, people said it was a fad. In 2017, they said it was tulip mania. In 2021, they said it was overvalued. And yet, here we are, still talking about it, still seeing adoption grow. The risks are real, but the resilience of Bitcoin is undeniable. The big opportunity. So let me leave you with this thought. Right now in 2023, Bitcoin is trading far below its potential. The mainstream media isn't talking about it every day. Your family isn't asking you about it at Christmas dinner. And that's exactly why this is the time to pay attention. Because when Bitcoin starts running again, it moves fast. And if history repeats, by the time the headlines are screaming, Bitcoin to the moon, it'll already be too late to get in cheap. So my prediction for Bitcoin in 2025, $250,000. That's my exact target. Not because I want to hype you up, but because history, math, and cycles all point to it. The question is, will you be ready? Will you have a plan? Will you take profits when it matters? Or will you get caught in the same traps that have burned so many before? If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for more crypto insights, and share your own prediction in the comments. Where do you think Bitcoin will be in 2025? Remember, crypto rewards the patient, the disciplined, and the prepared. So prepare now because the biggest opportunity of your life might just be around the corner. Thanks for watching, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.